Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Now today guys, I've got a ladder game. It is from Dayshi, the red Terran player in the top right, who's up against Team prOpSnuffe, who is of course the blue Zerg player in the lower left, and I'm really looking forward to this game. Team prOpT are one of my favourite up and coming teams. They are absolutely awesome, their players are fun and it's just great to watch. Now, map is of course Cloud Kingdom, and well, it's going to be a TVZ. So what can we expect in terms of strategy? Well, really Dayshi has two early game options in my opinion. Option 1 is to go for a command center first, which is really quite risky. Option 2 is the 1-Rax command center, which it seems like every Terran in the universe has decided the right thing to do against Zerg, and who can blame them? It's good, but I'll come back to that. Snuff, he's going to go for a 15 hatch, 16 pool, then probably into a fairly quick 1 gas just to get out things like speed, and then going to just chill and drone up. Now, the problem is, of course, for the Zerg player is, well, if Dayshi goes for an early command center, well, you're then on equal bases with the Terran, and that is not something that you ever want. And I'm getting slightly concerned by what that single SCV is doing. Oh dear. I was saying they've got two options, a 1-Rax command center, or of course you can go for a proxy 11-11 Rax, which is also highly effective against Zerg players, and it's going to not get scouted at all. The Overlord is not going in the right place. I'm surprised it wasn't brought more over here, but it can get scouted out there, and of course this is going to be a lot of pressure. Is the drone going to spot it? No, it won't. Of course that watchtower won't pick it up, that watchtower won't pick it up, and the drone is just going to go and take a look. Of course when the drone gets over there and he's like, hey, you haven't built anything. That doesn't seem right. He might get a little bit of a hint that things are going to go nasty fairly quickly, but as you can see, the hatchery on its way down. Still no spawning pool. The first barracks is nearly done. This is going to get very stressful very quickly. But of course, if Snuff does manage to hold this, well, then he's going to be in a good position if he doesn't lose too much. Because, hey, as you can see, Dayshi, he's just got 2 barracks, which he'll have to then flow back over to here, which will take him an awfully long time. And of course, this drone is now probably thinking, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, I know what this means. And, well, if he's in a good position to react, he should, well, there's not really much he can do at this stage of the game, because of course his spawning pool is just so late. So all he really has as an option is kind of wait this out and just be like, oh dear, try and bring the drones down to deny this bunker, which he's going to have to do. He pulls literally all of his drones bar 2, so he is going for a mass defense of this. Obviously Dayshi, he can sit there and he can try and track down a second bunker, but of course those bunkers are going to start running into problems. Of course, as soon as the rest of the SCV comes over, a cancel is forced on the bunker. That's okay though. Of course, the Marines on their own without the bunker are a lot easier to deal with, and of course the only advantage for Dayshi from this, of course, is that, well, he hasn't had time to really do anything else behind it. He's getting rid of a lot of mining time here from Snuff. He's also denying a lot of the ability to produce things. The Marines trying to get surrounded by the drones. This is exactly how you deal with this. Obviously the bunker is trying to get down though. The SCV getting focused, and of course that SCV going to go down very soon from those 2 drones at the moment. But of course the additional Marines feeding in very quickly. You've got more SCVs there, but of course the first 6 Zerglings on their way, and of course without the bunker, those Marines, just the 3 of them, are not going to have a good time against 6 Zerglings. Of course, the 4th Marine now coming in, though. Some good damage could get done. The SCVs are still there. A would pick off more, and quite a few drones have actually been killed. Snuff down to 8 to the 14 of Dayshi at the moment. Great micro from these Marines at the moment. They are pretty much going to die, though, and there's not much you can do about that. The bunker will be forced to cancel, but the big advantage here is the fact that Dayshi is still 4 workers ahead. He's denied an awful lot of mining time from his opponent, and the only downside is that he hasn't really done anything behind this except call down supply on the supply depot to avoid having to build another one. Now it's really, what's the follow-up going to be? Well, to be honest, the Terran player is probably going to take an expansion. He's got a good number of Marines coming across. He's forcing a lot of Zerglings out of Snuff, which means that Snuff is unable to drone up, unable to get the good economy. He can go for the full surround on the Marines, which aren't in a good position. They do get completely surrounded by the Zerglings, which is never going to be a good engagement. And if we look at the loss tab, Dayshi has lost 150 more minerals, but he's more than made up for that in terms of the number of workers killed. He has killed 9 workers already. Of course, Dayshi in a good spot. He's still a good way ahead. He's getting his command center down now as we speak. But the problem is, what if there's a big counterattack? There's always a possibility. These Marines are absolutely microing to the max, and of course, as the Zergling numbers fall, Marines become a lot better against them, and really you just have to have an overwhelming number of Zerglings to be able to completely surround the Marines. Of course, these 2 barracks just constantly producing Marines, and Dayshi just really going for the hard. I'm just going to macro perfectly. I'm just going to produce 2 Marines at a time and an SCV every single rotation without any gap, as you can see there. So he is just really aiming to do the absolute beast mode, as you can see. And well, the Marines are in a better position this time against those Zerglings, but they do still get shut down. The other 2 pulling back for the time being, but still the worker count only at 10 for Snuff, and that is going to become a big problem. But of course, a counter-attack could be a risk. I'm surprised the bunker hasn't been thrown down by Dayshi just to defend his own natural, because of course these Marines do have to be careful. The two barracks may be forced to float away once they are scouted, because of course those Zerglings are able to get us around. That'll be a problem. Of course, while they're flying back, they are not going to be producing anything. Dayshi is getting 2 more barracks up though, back at his main base, using them obviously to get Marines up for a defense position. And of course the Zergling numbers for Snuff are going down slowly. He doesn't have a huge number on the field anymore. He's down to just 9 basically out, and well, they're going to town on these 2 barracks at the moment. Of course, Dayshi not in a big hassle to try and get them really lifted, because there's not that much damage done. He's better off getting a couple of Marines out, trying to pick up a bit more of these Zerglings' health, and really just give him a chance to get those 2 bunkers up, 2 barracks up at his natural. Now, he saved that one a bit too late. I hope that's going to be able to get back in time. The other one doesn't want to risk it, and of course, now the counterattack is going to be coming in. We've got a 3rd barracks on its way, so that does mean a complete wall-off. So Dayshi is now absolutely safe in terms of the worker count, 20 to 21. So Dayshi was ahead in terms of the worker count for a long period of time right there, and of course, that is going to be a lot of lost mining time for Snuff, and that's going to really hurt him in the mid-game. So all the timings are now completely thrown off. This is a good angle here. It's trying to prevent the Zerglings from attacking too many barracks at a time. Of course, now the Marines are out, they're going to be forced back, and they're not even going for the natural base, which is quite surprising. These other 2 barracks on the way back, that one just getting repaired in time. We've got 3rd command center on its way. We are up now, well, what's this going to be? 6 barracks, so this is Marine all in pretty much off of 2 bases. And how do you deal with this as Zerg? Banelings, Banelings, Banelings. Because, well, Marines are really bad against Banelings, like exceptionally bad against Banelings. So just get Banelings up. As soon as you think your opponent is going for nothing but Marines, that's what you do to deal with it. If you don't get Banelings, you will lose, and you will think Marines are stupidly overpowered, but they're not, because Banelings crush them, and I really hope I'm hammering this point home for everyone watching right now. But obviously Snuff being forced to pull back at the moment, and well, he's getting up his 3rd gas now, 2nd and 3rd gas at the same time actually, and for the time being, he's okay, except he doesn't have his Baneling nest, which he really should be making his Baneling nest. And I'm just going to keep saying Banelings. So everyone, when they get, yes, there we go, Baneling nest up. Everyone, any Zopo in this situation, if you see mass Marine, Baneling. Marine, Baneling. It's that simple, guys. Really is that easy. I cast a game from Idra months ago now, where he got into an absolutely rage hissy fit about the fact the Marines killed him. Like, literally his opponent was just 2-base Marining, constantly. And at no point did he make Banelings. And it was just like, well, you deserve to lose in my opinion. Anyway, we've got some Zerglings in here, so it looks like some counter-attacking is going to be going down. All the Marines forced to pull back, and of course this is going to be good scouting information as well for Snuff, because, well, he's going to see straight away there's Marines. Lots and lots of Marines. The Marines are being added on with barracks. So basically build lots and lots and lots and lots of Banelings, and you will be fine, because Banelings are what? Good against Marines. Oh, we're learning. Isn't this fun? Obviously, though, the learning could all get disrupted by the fact that there's Marines, and Marines are very strong units at any stage of the game. And as you can see here, these Zerglings, they're trying to get us around, but great micro. Marines actually become better against Zerglings as they gain large numbers, because the surface area decreases, which means less Zerglings are able to attack the total number of Marines. So that can be a bit of a problem. And of course now, Dayshi really throwing the boat out here, adding to those Marines some Marauders. So he is 2/3 of the way there to MMM. All he needs now is some medevacs, and he will be near unstoppable if this was the beta of Wings of Liberty. But of course it isn't. We are quite a long way beyond that. We still have lots of Marines though, and of course Marines are a threat, but now we've got lots of Banelings, and of course, what do we remember? The Banelings beat Marines, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. This is going to go really tense. I really want to get the camera where I can see all of this, but unfortunately you just can't zoom out quite enough. But here we go, and well, that one SCV is an absolute miracle worker. He floats through infinite number of Banelings, but of course here we go, we've got a big Baneling bus going down already, and of course lots of Banelings still there, but lots detonate on the buildings unfortunately, which is going to be a bit of a problem for Snuff, and that really takes the momentum out of his push. The plus side though is he did temporarily supply block Dayshi, who is able to rebuild that wall ASAP. In terms of the worker count, Dayshi is still up there. When you factor mules in, we should actually see that the Terran player is near equal, possibly pulling ahead even with those mules coming in, so that is all good. But of course the third base on its way out for the Zerg player, who's also getting up that Baneling speed, getting up +1 carapace and +1 melee attack, so really looking at those upgrades. Meanwhile Dayshi, he's getting up the 1/1 infantry upgrades, and he is ahead in those, so he is going to have an upgrade advantage for a while. Those Marauders need to be at the front to soak up the Baneling damage, because Banelings are not good against Marauders, guys. And well, this is going to be a pretty tough engagement, because Dayshi does actually have a smaller supply lead, but in terms of the unit count, well, obviously the supply lead is quite big in terms of the army because, well, army supply 44 to 24, but defender's advantage for Zerg is pretty good. He's getting an awful lot of banelings out, he's getting an awful lot more Zerglings out, but the 1-1 upgrades are probably not actually going to kick in time. They're still 30 seconds away for Dayshi, so we'll wait and see how this all goes, but obviously the Marauders are leading the charge. Stim is done as well. That is an absolutely critical upgrade. Combat shield and also concussive shells on their way out. Great marine splitting by Dayshi at the moment, but those banelings doing absolutely massive damage. But is it enough? We'll wait and see. For the moment, it looks like no, Dayshi just may have too much stuff here at the time being. And he is just pushing forward. He is doing good damage. And, well, as you can see, this is starting to become absolutely traumatic for the Zerg player because, well, we are seeing lots and lots of drones go down. We're seeing just a handful of Zerglings on the way. The infestation pit nearly done, of course. If this was a standard game, that would be incredibly late, but it has not been standard in any way, shape, or form. Snuff was able to shut it down, though, but he is now behind in the worker count yet again. In this game, Dayshi has already shut down 24 workers, which, when you think that's over half of the worker count of the Zerg player at the moment, that is not good times in the slightest. Looking up here, though, Dayshi, he's, well, getting ready to throw down his third. It's floating down, but some Zerglings are on their way, so that ain't going to be happening anytime soon. But it does mean the Zerglings will get scouted, which means, as a result, they can get cleaned up. But those poor SCVs, they are not going to be able to get away the wall off. It's not going to go up in time by the looks of things, but we do have a handful of infantry units there that do stim in time and do start doing massive amounts of damage. But meanwhile, we've got the counter push coming in from Dayshi. He's got, well, 4 Marauders and a handful of Marines there, and these Banelings, they're going to have to get some good hits. Is Dayshi going to split in time? The answer is no, and just look at those Banelings absolutely crush that push. That was very, very cost effective for Snuff. Even though he is still slightly behind in terms of the resources lost, it was a good engagement for him. Meanwhile, lots of more Zerglings being forced at the time being. Dayshi really putting ahead. He's got his third base up, but in terms of units, he's getting a bit low. He also isn't taking up quite quickly enough for my liking. He has no medevacs out. The first two on their way. Of course, the upgrades are equal, 1-1 apiece. And, well, it's going to have to be a tough engagement here, but of course, there is no Banelings at all for the Zerg player at the moment. And, of course, Banelings very, very strong against infantry. And, well, as you can see, the Zerglings being forced back. Dayshi in an absolutely amazing spot for the time being, but Infestors are on their way out. Now, Infestors are probably the second best thing to Banelings in dealing with Marines and Marauders, specifically Marine Balls, because once you get those fungal growths on, guess what? Banelings can go and seal them up, and basically that is the end of it. Of course, fungal does root units in place. We have a drop coming in here. Will get spotted though. The double drop going down by Dayshi. This is going to be hyper aggressive. The Zerglings just need to get defended off, and that should be fine now. The bunker's down. Obviously the complete wall off here as well, but it is down at the moment, so Dayshi does need to be careful to watch that. We do, of course, have the Zerglings spotting the movements of that medevac, but I don't think the second medevac has been spotted, so the third base could be in some problems, especially if all the units are pulled back to be in a defensive position here. The Infestors are there, so the fungal growth will be down in time. We've got the Spore Crawler, obviously, on their way. Now, where is that medevac going to go in? It looks like it's just going to go straight in. Will he drop the units before he gets to the base? We will wait and see, but obviously the factory has scouted everything out. This is pure MMM. We do have Zerglings coming down to the third base, which means that is all fine. The other medevac did stop, so, well, this is going to be a pretty tough position for those Marines are going to get taken out exceptionally quickly. The medevac rightfully gets hightails out of there because, well, the Infestors were always going to be a threat. The fourth command center on its way down for Dayshi at the moment, who is still doing nothing but building lots and lots of Marines and Marauders and medevacs, because MMM is good like. And when you start dropping Zerg players as well, they start getting some big problems. That Infestor does get a good fungal growth or pick off the medevac, which is always annoying. We do have the medevac in the top position though. The problem is, though, of course, that we do have that Spore Crawler there, so that's going to make things a little bit difficult. We do have another drop geared up, so Dayshi is just going so drop heavy. And of course, that's a good way to deal with it, but those drops have to deal damage. The problem is if a big counterattack push comes in, and that is, of course, what we are seeing at the moment. Looking down here, all of the infantry moving out, and that could be literally the worst time it could possibly go, because, well, Zerglings are coming into the third. That could be a bit of a problem. There's only a handful of units there, literally just 4 Marines in there. Of course, some Banelings are now morphing as well, and this counterattack is really going to be quite devastating for the time being. We do have another command center getting started, so Dayshi just trying to spend all of his money as quickly as he can, doing a good job of it, actually. And, well, meanwhile, we've got the third base taking some good damage, but fungal growth going down on the medevacs, and of course, fungal growth can be so strong. Good splitting of his units, though, by Dayshi. Some Infested Terrans getting locked down. Infested Terrans incredibly strong, as good as a Stim Marine, and, of course, that's if they are allowed to finish. But the problem is, the time it takes to hatch can cause problems, and there is the smiley face in place of a GG from Snuff and Dayshi. Well, he didn't win as convincingly as he may have liked. I think if there was one fault in Snuff's play, it would have been that push to the natural, the Baneling bust attempt. If he just played a bit more defensively and droned up really hard, I think he may have been in a better spot. But time will never know, because that game ended the way it did. So guys, if you did enjoy, please subscribe, like the video, leave a cool comment, etc, etc, and I will catch you tomorrow for yet another new cast, as I do every day of the week. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you then.